Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend update show. Thank you very much for spending some time with us, right? Thank you very much for tuning in. All I ask is, guys, take 1 second out, click that like button, subscribe, share, and again, hopefully I will continue to give you guys value. So let's talk about the tape. Crazy week. If you're a passive investor in the market, you saw some really big gains. The scoreboard, S&P finished up nearly 3%, the Dow Jones up nearly 4%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ up 2.5%. A lot of data that came in pretty much the same. You had PPI come in on Tuesday below estimates. The market initially gapped, gave it all back. And honestly, we always joke around when you have the PPI followed by the CPI, like what's the point? Like what's really the difference? CPI came out the next day, okay, also fell below estimates, but this time around took the market really aggressively and put up one of the biggest rallies that we can remember in the last several months, reclaiming back the 50-day moving average. Ironically, and you can really see here, if you looked at the last 3 weeks worth of action, you can see here lows, lower lows. It's really kind of ironic that we only spent 4 days below the 50-day moving average, considering how aggressively weak the market was. But again, that's the whole point, guys. We're not trying to scare anybody by saying, hey, when we're below the 50-day moving average, it's a sell signal. That's what happened. We got below the 50-day moving average, and the Qs went from 525 all the way down to 499. That's the whole point of the sell signal. I kept on reiterating, we don't know if we're going to be below the 50-day moving average for a week, for 3 months, for a year. But again, as long as we stay below, the market is going to be in a sell cycle mode. And that's why it's so ironic how quickly we got back above the 50-day moving average on pretty much the same data from the day before, from the PPI to the CPI. But again, this is why we always talk about this is the greatest reality show that's not on television. And I'll tell you one thing, we saw some really aggressive action, okay? We saw some things that I probably haven't seen in a very long time. Just to give you an example how violent this market was, Wednesday, we talked about that big breakout on Tesla, right? I've been trading Tesla, folks. I've been trading Tesla for 7 to 8 years. I don't think you could probably count on a couple of fingers how many people trade Tesla more aggressively than I do. What I mean by that is just, I'm pretty good at looking at levels, identifying levels. I don't remember the last time that I took a Tesla macro trade overnight and it failed. And what I mean by that was, if you guys remember, we had this big move coming out of this 2-week channel. Usually when you get a 2-week distribution and you come out with option flow, it's going to follow through, right? It's going to literally follow through. And the following day, man, I got clipped. I got really clipped because Tesla went literally straight down. Gave back my whole day from the previous day, wound up losing money, and it was very discouraging. And then Friday rolled around, right? And next thing you know, it was like nothing happened, okay? Tesla gave us another opportunity, right? You saw the big buyers coming in, short-term expiration for the 490s. We saw, I think, March 490 calls come in, and Tesla really went crazy. So what we gave back on Thursday, we made up and much more on that Friday's move. And you can see here towards the end of the day, a really aggressive, ugly sell-off on Tesla into the close. And the reason why that is, it's kind of like, it's all speculation right now, but it's kind of what's going on with this whole TikTok thing, right? So I believe tomorrow is Sunday, right? I believe on Sunday, TikTok, at least on the U.S. side, is going to be shut down. Again, by the time you watch this broadcast, we don't know what could happen. The Biden administration said we're going to leave this whole TikTok thing to Trump, which is having his Monday inauguration. All right. So the markets are closed. Observance for Martin Luther King Day. So we're closed on Monday. So Trump is having his day into office. But I think there's a lot of uncertainty of what's going on with TikTok. And you can make a case that Tesla made this big run because, again, there was speculation that it might be a suitor to buy this U.S. arm of TikTok. And then you saw the price instability all week on Meta. First, it ripped on this TikTok news that it was shutting down. Then the stock got hit because, there was potential a buyer, could have been Amazon, could have been could have been Tesla. So there's a lot of moving parts of what's going on. TikTok, we'll see once Trump is in office come Monday. Probably won't get any more clarity till like the middle of the week. But let's see if Trump gives kind of an extension, whether it's a 90-day, 30-day, 60-day extension to kind of resolve this TikTok thing. But as of Sunday, TikTok will be shut down on the U.S. side. But more important is kind of where we are, right? Kind of where we are right now. And if you look at all the indexes, we're back on track, at least for the moment, right? We're back on track. We're back above the 50-day moving average on the Qs. We are back above the 50-day moving average on the SPYs. And if you see what led the market truly higher was the most important group, right? It may not be the most important trading group, but it's one of the most important groups when Wall Street and Main Street combine, and that is the banks, right? You had JP Morgan highlighting this week, kicked off earnings. JP Morgan let the banks higher, really good earnings, wide margins, which was good, took up pretty much everything. Goldman Sachs, Citibank, as you can imagine, they are cross references between the Dow and the S&P, and that's what really drove the market higher. Tuesday, you have Netflix kicking off beta earnings. Netflix has some work to do. Netflix is still one of the few names below the 50-day moving average. So it's going to need to do some work going into this week. But at least on the surface, the bulls start the week in a bullish tone. And this is kind of, we kept on telling everybody over and over again, guys, we don't care which way we trade the market. We just want efficiency. That's it. We just want efficiency. If the market's going to go up, we want efficiency. I kept on reiterating, I prefer a bull market. It's just that much easier. But once the market starts sliding, losing the 50-day, that's when you have to start getting into sell mode until the bulls reclaim. So you have Netflix coming out with earnings on Tuesday, and then pretty much everything else that's worthy in the next couple of weeks for the rest of the Magnificent Seven. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about some names going into next week. I think the group, if we're going to sustain some stability, right? If we're going to sustain some aggression and continue to build over the 50-day moving average, in my opinion, I think the semiconductors have to do it, right? If you look at a lot of the semiconductor names, they're still having problems. Again, look no further than AMD, right? Like, again, AMD looks terrible, okay? I think if you put on a trade, I'll give an example. If you want to put on a pair trade for the next 10 years, you can go long NVIDIA at short AMD. And there's a good chance, depending on the ratio you use, you're probably going to do well, right? You're probably going to do well because it feels like there's just something wrong with AMD. The market goes higher, it goes lower. TSM has good earnings, AMD gets sold. NVIDIA goes higher, AMD is just trying to get back above water. So something really weird there. But if you look at the rest of the space, we're starting to get a little bit of clarity, some names starting to do pretty well. So let me give you guys some names, right? So Avago, right? Avago is very close. It's been putting in a nice long distribution. Obviously, it had earnings in December. As you can see here, you're getting a little bit of supply here in this linear regression line. See this little blue line being set across? So it keeps on getting rejected off this line. If it can just start putting in a channel above this linear regression and confirm the January 7 highs, I think Avago could wake up. This looks really good. Look at, for example, Marvel. right? Another semiconductor name. Again, another really good quarter on Marvel. This thing is very, very close of confirming the December highs. This thing looks really, really good. So again, you're definitely getting some names that look very, very strong. This is the one I want to finally wake up. I think I can speak for pretty much anybody who trades technology. We need to see NVIDIA wake up, right? We really do. I think NVIDIA was definitely one of the top 2-3 leaders in the group in the whole rally from 2000 even through the bear market of 2022. For the last 5 years, for the last 4 years and change, I think we could all agree NVIDIA has been one of the catalysts that's bringing the market higher. Right now, currently, it's still below the 50-day moving average. That's a concern, right? That's definitely a concern, especially the last time it was over the 50-day moving average. Gave me a great trade. It really did. Really great trade. It moved up $13 in 4 days, and then it got really aggressively sold on the Sell the News CES event, okay? But the problem is, it's just kind of just chilling below the 50-day moving average. We need to get this thing back above. If NVIDIA can finally get back above the 50-day moving average, not only is it going to continuously spark the semiconductor group, right? But considering the semis and the biotechs are the dominant forces in the NASDAQ 100, that's what's going to really take this rally kind of into a stronger phase. So it's very, very important that NVIDIA kind of wakes up, gets back above the 50-day moving average, and starts pushing to CES highs. It's going to be very, very important to understand. I like this PLTR, right? PLTR, had a monster move in October, came in just like everything else, lost the 50-day for about 3 days, and now it's just kind of getting through the weeds. You see that, guys? It's just kind of reclaiming the 50, reclaiming the 20, and this is the first close below the 20-day moving average. I think for PLTR to really get loose, it probably needs a few more days, right? But I think if it could start reclaiming back some of these levels, the levels in the next few days, I think it could finally open up some space. Definitely one to watch there as well. The one that's worrying me is Apple. That one is worrying me, right? There's something wrong with Apple. Not only is, I feel like every single day there's some sort of news coming out of China, right? Apple gains market share of China, stock moves up. And then 30 minutes later, it's losing market share in China, the stock goes down. So it had this really ugly engulfing candle, okay, on Thursday, which basically, took down this whole formation here below the 50-day moving average. Keep an eye on this thing, right? Definitely keep an eye on this thing in case there's some market weakness. This is definitely the one to watch because, again, when you have an engulfing candle and it starts going sideways, usually a follow-through day will happen. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that as well. Also, keep an eye to the upside, this OKLO, a really big high-flying name. We highlighted this a couple of weeks ago, had a big breakout. It keeps on getting rejected here on the January highs. Keep an eye on this thing the next few days, guys. It's been consolidating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Tuesday will be day 7, so you have over a week and a half of distribution. Let's see if OKLO can really bust out to higher prices. Other than that, you see some of these other names. Amazon looks great, right? Amazon looks great. Google is just churning its way back to the upper Bollinger Band. Microsoft this week finally got back above the 50-day moving average. So we're heading in the right place. So for all traders that were worried we couldn't rally off the PPI, and it really does show you how sometimes the market becomes so random that you can have literally the same data back-to-back days and they both miss estimates, and you can see how incredibly opposite of a reaction could be. Again, welcome to trading. That's exactly what it is. Expect the unexpected and expect the worst, hope for the best, and hopefully your process and your money management skills will get you from point A to point B. So Monday, we are off observing Dr. Martin Luther King, also Trump's event, his inauguration. Tuesday, we are back on the field. Hopefully you guys are having an unbelievable weekend, a great 2025, and you are happy and healthy. Guys, God bless everybody. Let's see what happens next week. And with God's help, I'll see you all on the field. Take care.